Welcome back, crew. In honor of Black Friday, we're going to mix it up a bit and review a stout beer. And for those of you that are confused why my tabletop RPG channel is getting into kind of beer reviews, this is the intersection of two of my favorite interests. Because New Holland Brewery, the creators of Dragon's Milk Stout line, partnered with Wizards of the Coast and Dungeons and Dragons to brew a Dragon's Milk D20 brew in honor of D&D's 50th anniversary. So this was just really cool for me. I'm a huge craft beer fan. You've probably noticed if you've watched my actual plays, I usually have uh, at least a can or two while I'm playing a game. So this was kind of cool for me to try something new, do a little bit of a beer review, and shout out an intersection that I really hope happens more often because I'd love more of my craft breweries to get into my hobby too. So Arvon, Bells, definitely pay attention. But really, this is just kind of cool on that side. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna go through and give a little bit of beer reviews, a little bit about the bottle, the taste, the feel for Dragon's Milk D20 Brew, and just some more shout outs because this is something that's really cool to me. For any beer connoisseurs, any cicerones especially, huge craft beer fan, never done a beer review outside of Untapped. So may not be as in depth as you're used to, but something fun and new. I hope you all will enjoy. Definitely shout out some of your notes if you had a chance to try this in the comments. I'd love to see what the community thinks on this one. But overall, it's starting it off too for anybody that's not familiar with Dragon's Milk. I think it's distributed pretty well around the country. But if you haven't tried it, try. If you like bourbon barrel aged stouts with high ABVs and very smooth flavors, you'll love Dragon's Milk. They've got variants from s'mores and they've got double bourbon barrel variants. They've got a ton of different variants. My favorite's the s'mores one, as well as my wife likes I think the mint one is like a mint style stout with the bourbon. That's her favorite. But it's just really good, high quality. It always is like fun to see what they cook up as well. But for this one, they went all out for it. So this is their D20 stout. And in honor of it being the D20, the big dice for Dungeons and Dragons, they made this stout 20%, which is really cool. I've got a little bit of it in my Dungeon Jedi Masters cup. Great taste, great feel. And the good and the dangerous part is it's hard to tell it's 20%. This is one I recommend if you get a bottle, sharing it with somebody, or at least finding a stopper and way to save it. Because unless you've got a whole day where you're just chilling, this could be one that could kind of catch up to you quickly. But the nice thing with it though is it's double bourbon barrel aged. It's very smooth, like dangerously smooth, as I've said, to drink. You can feel the bourbon taste, but it's not overpowering. And one of the nice things I like that they did too is they put some really good vanilla notes in it as well, that really just kind of help make this a fun drinking experience. And especially with being 20%. I think the usual Dragon's Book usually range between like 11-14%. So this is the highest one I've seen for the ABV. I was worried it would just be overly strong, overly uh, just would kind of ruin the flavor balance, but it does not at all. It's dangerously smooth, as I'll say again. So they did a really great job with it. Definitely could tell some love went into the creation for this one. One of the other big pieces I want to give a kind of a highlight to as well is the bottle. They did a great job with this bottle as well. So you see they've got the D20 along with the Dungeons and Dragons symbol on there. You got the D20 brew as well. One of the cool things that probably doesn't come across really well on the camera is they actually put dragon scales on it too, which I thought was a really cool touch, along with the wax seal, which just really kind of shows itself as a little bit of a high-end bottle too. Because one of the things I will say, I mean, it's collaboration brew. It's kind of it's well, it's always going to have a little bit of a higher price. This could be a thorn to some, but I think it's fair. It's a little bit of a pricey bottle. It's $50 per bottle. I picked up two, so it hurt the wallet a little bit. But as I said, very good beer. This is what I'm gonna be saving the second one for like next time I host like a really fun or important game at home. I'm gonna probably bust that out and share it with the crew. So that definitely for anybody that's in my area, look forward to that sometime in the future. But it's one I'm gonna keep on the shelf probably for a little bit though too, just to really get to kind of show it off and sell it for a bit. Outside of the bottle and kind of the overall feel for it, one of the other cool things they did with this release too is they did a lot of cool New Holland Dragon's Milk merchandise that kind of went with D&D. Fortunately, I didn't expect it to sell as quickly as it did, so I missed a lot of the merchandise. But they had like a dice bag. You see the image too. They've got a dice tray as well, shirts, a whole bunch of other cool stuff. That you kind of go through, and especially if you're a Dragon's Milk fan, you got to kind of intersect those two interests and get some cool merchandise to reflect that. And Dragon's Milk is just the perfect name for a beer that's aligned with D&D and tabletop RPGs. So this was just really interesting for me to see. They also, unfortunately, as I said, I waited a little bit too long. They had I think, a bourbon that was aged in a mead barrel as well. I was hoping to get my hands on that, but it was sold out by the time I got to it. I'm hoping to still find one maybe somewhere to try to be able to try that out, but that one was very pricey. That was like 150 per bottle. I was kind of surprised it sold that quickly with how much it was. But if you had a chance to try that out, shout that out in the comments because I'd love to see what people thought of that one as well. Yeah, thank you for joining me for this one. This was just a kind of a quick review for the beer. It's just really cool to see two of my interests intersect in a major way, and I was happy to be able to kind of share that with the community. Definitely shout out if you had a chance to try the Dragon's Milk D20 Brew. Some of the comments, what you thought about it below, as well as like, subscribe, and be ready because we're going to be diving into a new game of the month in December. This one will be Patreon chosen, though. So if you want to be part of our Patreon crew and help us choose our next tabletop RPG that we cover for the month of December, going over how to build characters, quirk mechanics, a review of the system, and a live actual play of the game, go through, join our Patreon crew. There'll be a link below. Go vote and let us know what system we should be covering next month. But overall, thank you all for hanging out and until next time.